All right, video number 29. Um, yeah, we're moving along, right? We're getting along with these videos. They've been going on for X amount of time already, and I like this. This is what it has to be. It's gonna have to be much, much longer. But um, I guess what I really wanted to talk about today is the, like I said in the beginning of doing this, the more you do it, the more you understand it, the more you really get a picture of what you're doing. And I said this in the beginning of the first few videos, but now it's real, right? Yeah, I've gotten a better picture, a better view of why I'm making these videos, but if you want to get at what I want to get out of it and what the value is, why am I making these? Um, and so I'm going to try to explain that again here. Um, Yeah, so essentially I'm doing it right. It's like kind of like a diary, right? It's a daily account of what it takes and also what happens, right? What the day-to-day journey is like of building this company, right? Building the space elevator. Crazy project, right? Um, and what does it actually take, right? So that's what like that. Now, why do I have to do videos, right? What's that? It's building credibility, right? There's more value to me as a person when someone sees, hey, you went from here to here, right? You're improving or you're doing something or you're really working on something. So it builds that kind of value, and that's important in business and just as a, you need the value. Um, and also, obviously, one of the main reason I really hope is it's able to be scalable, right? So hopefully this teaches someone something at some point. Hopefully, one day I'm successful, one day this whole thing works out, and then someone else can say, hey, I'm going to do the same thing with whatever you're chasing, and then hopefully you can learn from this and it teach you, right? Because this, what I'm realizing is, there is a path to success. It's not just get lucky, and there is an actual path. It's very difficult, and that's the point, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it, but there is an actual path, and if you can get guided through the path, a lot more people will be able to take that if they want to, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. And then another one, right, obviously is accountability, or not obviously, it's accountability, right? I really want to guess be accountable for myself, right? And I think as much as I believe I'm accountable now, I'll talk about myself in a second. And you know what? No. So yeah, so I guess I have to talk about myself a little bit because I really haven't done that in any of these videos and kind of, I guess, where I until I got here. Um, Not my history because that's something no one cares about that right now, but more like how I actually, why I have this work ethic. What am I, right? Why am I different, right? Because as much as I don't like saying that, because everyone could do this and everyone could get to this point, not everyone's building a space elevator, right? And not everyone's doing that at my age, right? At 23 years old. It's different, right? And again, it could be a childish dream, but I think it's a lot more than that, right? Because there's a lot more backing it up now at this point already. So it's right. It's that kind of thing. So what makes me different, right? And I guess obviously I dream big, that's a given, you could tell. But I think there's two things that I think I've mastered over the past few years and intentionally, right? Like these are things that I knew I would need to get good at in order to be successful in business or in the world. Um, Number one is being happy, right? Just genuinely just finding happiness. And that takes, again, okay, finding happiness. And then number two is really, I love working, right? And by love working, I don't mean I love doing space elevator work, right? I mean, I love working hard at things, at whatever it is, right? So, I race or, race car, right? Sim racing mostly now, but I work hard at that, right? So it's not just right? That's a hobby, right? But instead of just saying, "Hey, I'll do it," I do it, and then I also, watch technique, learn how to do it. Watch like you learn how to, you learn strategy, you learn technique, and it basically taking it from a level of doing something for fun to doing something intentionally, right? And I think you can do this with anything, even just watching a TV show, right? You can take so many lessons out of scenes in TV shows, whether it's how they're shot, to learning, people's things, or just random details you see in the background that make you think about something. Seeing the way different cities are built, seeing the way different people do different things, right? And it's again, these are all just concept, but the point of trying to get as much out of every single situation as possible and not willing to, but wanting to put in the work to do that. Because it does require effort, right? It requires effort in every situation. And again, same thing is with work, right? Obviously regular work, but it's like, it's not just about working the hours of the day because that's not getting anywhere, right? It's about maximizing that time and doing nothing to waste any time, right? Now I have OCD and I do a lot of things, right? I don't just do one, when I do these videos, that's kind of a little bit of it is getting used to this, but I'm not just doing one thing, right? I do a lot of different things at once and I like it, right? I've always, like I said, I always watch it, a TV show while I'm working. Usually have a few different tabs open doing, one thing in the bank, one thing, research, and I'm just jumping between them, right? Because if a page loads and it takes 10 seconds, I need, I'll go do something else in the meantime, because there's 10 seconds, right? Or I'll do something physical, I need to write something, write a note down, or I need to, and that's just a constant, right? It's about doing that, right? I don't sit and eat lunch, right? I can't. I need to be working while I'm eating lunch, in the bathroom, okay, I'll do my Duolingo, I'll learn the languages that I need to learn. There's no like, and again, I'll watch YouTube too, but I'll do it while I'm working, or I'll do it, I do have fun things, but it's something that it wasn't easy, and I'm just gonna say that, right? It does take a lot of work to get good at that, to it's doing it so much, just working so hard at whatever it is that you're doing over and over and over until you just feel like that's the only way. Um, maybe it's only because I have OCD, but I think because then you're maximizing everything, right? No matter what it is you're doing, you're maximizing it. So it doesn't matter if it's something, you're gonna be doing something that you're interested in. And if you're doing that at the maximum level, you'll be good at doing whatever it is that you're doing, right? It could be playing a video game, it could be running a business, and it could be, anything, right? It could be how to speak to someone. Um, it's just, I don't know, this is just things came to my head, but that's the reality, right? And I think that's a major difference, right? In the way I do things is because there's no pause, there's no like break. And then that's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing only if you can get to the point where you actually enjoy it. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the other thing, like I said, happiness, which is also very, very interesting, right? I could say I was not a very happy person. I used to be very against everything. And just, yeah, just always miserable, never liked what was going on. And I've realized that happiness is a choice, right? And everyone says that, but it really is a choice. Um, but like anything, it takes effort, right? It takes effort to make the choice sometimes. You're feeling really down in a specific situation, it can take a lot of effort to make yourself feel happy then. And it doesn't mean, again, yeah. And then, okay, so two types of happiness. I'll get to that. Okay. But you need to be happy in every situation, right? And right, you need to be happy, but you need to know how to do it. And that's the skill, right? The skill. That's the separation, right? The separation is that basically from being a regular situation to intentionally making yourself happy now, right? Knowing what it takes to turn you on, right? To make you in a happy mood. Because that leads to good things, right? Happiness leads to productivity, leads to you wanting to do what you're doing. And again, tying into the wanting to work, if you're happy, you're gonna be doing good things, right? Even if you're putting effort into things when you're sad, you're just not gonna be doing good things. Part of it is a smile, right? Obviously, that's something everyone says, but really teach yourself to smile a lot. I do it and it works great, right? I feel like sometimes I over smile, sometimes I feel like it's a little disrespectful, someone's talking about a sad thing and I'm just like, but that's just, I guess, yeah, I do, that's the thing I have to work on. But I'm usually just very happy in every situation. And I think what that takes is just being happy for every single thing, right? Always just intentionally in the beginning. It takes years, and I'm not gonna like this is genuinely the amount of time and how much work it takes. It's going to take years. It took me at least 2 years of doing this intentionally before it was real, right? But intentionally think of little things, like yesterday I was talking to my mother, I was in the car, but then I found parking and I was like, oh wow, I was so happy to just be so thankful. Like I found parking now. And this is something that people will be upset about. I didn't find parking. I went around 4 blocks, and this is how New York is. As I work the car, I'm thankful I have a car. I'm thankful just be thankful for every single thing you have. And I have a lot, right? And I think, but I've been saying that from when I had less than I have now. And I will be saying that hopefully forever, no matter if I have more or less, right? It's just being happy for the things that you have, right? Whatever they are, intentionally. And the tiny things too, not just the major, big, crazy things, right? Just be happy about everything and intentionally, right? And it took times, right? And, in the beginning, it was just like every single night I sat down for a little bit and just tried thinking about the day and thought of at least one new thing that I haven't thought about before that I'm happy for, that I'm happy to have. And then it got to the point where it just started becoming, again, the smiling too, it all goes hand in hand. I feel like another big thing that I force myself to do sometimes, and this, I don't know if this is so healthy, because sometimes it is good to be sad and a little down and let thoughts process like that. But there was a certain kind of where I used to like feel down, I would just put on happy, fun music, and that kind of, you know, forced you at some point to just, or to just start singing along and being happy. Music does that. I really, at least to me. And again, this is kind of maybe also something personal and not something that everyone shares. But music, right? I feel like is an emotion, talks emotionally, right? It's how to speak to your emotions. That's what I think of it as. So again, I don't like saying, yeah. So I don't think I'm different at all, right? I think it's just these two skills that I've worked hard at or not worked hard at, worked at, hard, well, relative, I don't want to, but it's just doing them and doing them good enough that you can want to continue. And then whatever it is, like I said, so whatever it is you're doing, right? If you're going to be happy in situations, you'll bring on the next right moves. That's just the way it is. And you'll get people around you. Like that's also because anything, right? And this is the way I see it, right? The way we define good versus bad, right, is good people are people that have positive impacts, right, on more people's lives, right? The better people have positive impacts on more people's lives, right? The more people you have better impact on, the better person you are, kind of. Not the more people, but because also the more impact, right? Because some people you have very minor impact, and one person could be taking care of 10 people or one person, all the time, right? Versus someone who has, 10 people that they kind of help out a little bit, right? So again, it's not a perfect scale, but and then obviously people who hurt other people are considered bad, right? Or take away, right? And then if they hurt more people, and again, it's kind of a scale. So overall, you can hurt 10 people, but then help 100, you're better off. And this is kind of the right how I see that. So um oh, I mentioned that. um yeah. So essentially, oh right, so you want to be right. So you if you want to do anything big, and I don't mean build a space elevator because that's what I'm doing, but I hope you're not doing that because I hope I succeeded with that and you can do something beyond that, right? Do the next big thing. Build a city in space around the space elevator or something totally different. But whatever it is and whatever scale it's at, you're gonna need more people. It's a given, right? If you're just doing it yourself, you're only gonna get so far. And then the best way to surround yourself with people is by being good, right? By being happy, by being someone people want to be around. So that's a key step is being able to turn your happiness on, right? Being able to walk into the office and be happy with everyone. And this is it right now. I'm putting so much work into trying to make sure that I am the best person for this position, the best person to manage these tons of people and to be, again, as it scales up and it's going to take time, but it's going to take years to get to that level too for myself, right? So it's just a nonstop thing. Always try to find the next thing to work on. Keep grinding because again, you have to love doing it too, right? And that's what it is. If it's not what you love doing, then there has to be a reason for that to get to what you love doing, right? Whatever that is, right? And Yeah, that's why it's so scalable, right? This is just a concept, and that's kind of what I'm trying to share. So hope you enjoy. Hope you learned something. Hope I explained a little bit of what's going on, and have good luck.